Preston, I don't know how much you had a chance to listen, but I'll start with hot takes on baseball from you. Mm-hmm. We talked about it for an hour yesterday, but the more you had a chance to kind of rattle it around in the brain and get 24 hours removed from Sunday night's game and the end of the sweep, a game in which South Carolina was there again in the 8th inning, and they give up 7 runs in the 8th and the 9th.
Yeah, if I didn't watch the series, I would have seen the score from Sunday night's game and been extremely disappointed. As I watched that game on Sunday night, it was disappointing, obviously, because you never want to lose to those dudes up there. But as I said yesterday, I was weirdly encouraged for some of the same reasons that you said, because Clemson, the good news and the bad news, the good news is that Clemson is a very good baseball team.
Right.
And they will probably play pretty deep into the postseason. That's the good news. The bad news is they're better than us right now. That's the bad news. But the good news on top of that, if we're going to do a compliment sandwich, you want to do a good news sandwich? Okay. Well, the good news sandwich is we played competitively, and I'm not giving moral victories here, but we played competitively and had active opportunities to win games against very good teams. And so we will play good or better teams, and I feel like we can compete with them.
Yeah, the show evolved into are you a positive-minded person yesterday or negative-minded? Because as we looked over the totality of the weekend from basketball standpoint, win both games and win a coin flip. Mm-hmm. Softball sweeps Duke and now is a top 10 team. Men's soccer thumped the Canadian team 5-0. I believe we won I believe it was women's tennis, knocked off number 6 Auburn. You had all these great things happen. There were so many things. I think Gamecock hockey, somebody weighed in and beat Clemson 8-4.
Which one?
I think it was the D3 hockey team. You know, still trying to decipher. I guess we're rolling along with 2 teams. But you had all this, and then you had that one negative. So what were you focused on? All the positives? Or they were like, nah, couldn't beat Clemson?
I will say the negative was huge because it was a sweep.
Yeah.
I will say that. So if that was your mindset, you're not wrong.
Okay.
Because it was a sweep. Maybe if we just lost the series, then you might be able to shift the attention, but sweeps are tough to swallow regardless. So I will say I do understand how if somebody was to take that point of view, I wouldn't be mad at them.
Okay. I know they're delicious, but do not eat Rice Krispie treats. Bad for you. Rice Krispie treats are bad for you. I ate them as a kid. I can attest to this now. When I stand up, my body goes snap, crackle, and pop. See, that's the key. You got to have the good post joke laugh. No, see, that makes it all.
You got to be more proud of yourself than you are of the joke, right? You just like I went through, I stood through the awkwardness and I got through it. But yeah, it's so interesting because if you remember, Kim Mulkey did this earlier. She was like, I don't know how we beat them with all these All-Americans. Yeah. It's like, Kim, you have an opportunity to recruit these women also. Shane, who may have been foreseeing the future a couple years ago when he was saying, Georgia has all these 5-star dudes now. Now they're all running around for the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah. So maybe he might have had a point. But it's just interesting that I don't know whether it becomes a crutch for the coaches or is it just a fact that they're saying?
Both. I mean, you're pointing out a fact. You're pointing out what is legitimately true, and you're also pointing out, hey, they got a lot of talent over there. It's not like we lost to somebody else, some random team. We didn't lose to a bad team, but it's, yeah, I mean, you're essentially making an excuse. Look, as you just said, there's no rule where when they go to the McDonald's All-American game, they sit them in a room and be like, hey, we're only allowing you to choose between 3 schools. You women or you boys, you're all here. You are only limited to these 3 schools. You can't go to Kentucky. You can't go to LSU. You can't go to Texas. You can't go to UCLA. Really, it's just South Carolina and Connecticut. That's the only 2 you're allowed to choose from. You are allowed the opportunity to go and recruit those girls and convince them why your program is the right one to go to.
Yeah, you're allowed to, just like everybody else. And there's teams that are not complaining. Texas hasn't complained. UConn hasn't complained. Who's the other one we lost to this year?
UConn, UCLA, and Texas.
UCLA hasn't complained. So they went out and they got McDonald's All-Americans and they competed, and that's the thing. So I don't like coaches using the other team as a crutch, because when you win, you're not going to say, oh, we won because you play the game as it is and you play with your team.